Live from WTOC, the Southeast news leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, we start this afternoon with a live look at I-16 at exit 166 as crews continue to clean up essentially after a semi-truck crashed into a sign off of the highway. This is a live look right now from the GDOT cameras. This crash happened around 9 a.m. this morning, and it's caused some major lane closures on I-16 as well as traffic impacts that are really backing up good parts of the city. We do want to pull these up right now off of GA 511. Give me one moment as I kind of show you a live look right now. Latest word from the Department of Transportation is that they expect this to be cleared up around 4 p.m. this afternoon. But here's where it's being really impacted. That was the live camera we saw, but this is where the crash is near Laurel Grove in the railroad area in Savannah. GDOT saying their anticipated end time for this is 4 p.m. That's slowly been moving back throughout the day. You can see these dotted black lines right now from 516 down the 16, really backing up to Highway 17 as well, north of Gwinnett Street and Louisville. These are all closures and impacts from this semi-crash, so it's really impacting a good amount of the area. In a social media post, Savannah police say that traffic is being diverted onto the 37th Street connector. They're asking folks to seek an alternate route if possible. We also do have some aerial footage I want to show you right now from late this morning of the crash itself. You could see that semi-truck, how it hit into one of the road signs off of the off-ramp, I believe, the Gwinnett Street, Louisville Road sign right there, just completely crumpled. We did get some viewer video as well showing that semi just completely on fire with traffic really backed up before they were able to fully get things closed late this morning. Again, this happened around 9 a.m. We also have been talking with the Savannah fire crews on scene. They did tell us that one person was taken to the hospital after this crash. No word yet on their condition. But again, this is a situation we've been monitoring really throughout the day here at WTOC. And again, the latest word from this I-16 multi-lane closure is that crews expect this, what you're seeing right now, to be cleared up around 4 p.m. So you should expect it to, at least in some regard, impact your afternoon commute. We will continue to update you on air and online about this really throughout the shows we have for the rest of the day at 3, 4, 5, and 6 as we wait to see this ultimately be cleared out. Moving now to the Crime Watch, we do have a new development in that deadly Target parking lot shooting that happened yesterday evening. We now know who was arrested. Take a look at your screen right now. Savannah Police Department says the suspect has been identified as 30-year-old Tyler Lynn. Now, this all comes after officers responded to the 14,000 block of Abercorn Street at the Target just after 4 p.m. yesterday. When they arrived, they found an adult man with gunshot wounds. He was taken to a Memorial Health Medical Center where he was later pronounced dead. Police say Lynn remained on scene and has been charged with murder and aggravated assault. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is encouraged to call Crime Stoppers. And we now know the name of the man who was shot and killed in Hampton County yesterday morning. The sheriff's office has identified him as Daquan Marquise Hill. 2 other people were also injured in that shooting on Laston Street in the Gifford area Sunday morning. That was around 5 a.m. SLED says they were requested by the Hampton County Sheriff's Office to investigate the incident. The 2 people injured in the shooting were taken to a hospital for treatment. Turning now to international news, captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife entered not guilty pleas during their arraignments inside a federal courthouse in New York City this afternoon. They face charges related to drug trafficking, and CBS News' Jared Hill is outside that courthouse with the latest.
Inside a New York federal courthouse, Venezuela's deposed leader, Nicolas Maduro, told a judge he is innocent and a decent man during his arraignment Monday. Maduro and his wife were charged with multiple counts, including conspiracy to commit narco-terrorism and conspiracy to import cocaine. U.S. forces captured the Maduros in Caracas early Saturday and brought them to the U.S. The deposed leader offered a cordial greeting to the agents who helped put him behind bars.
Good night. Happy New Year.
The 25-page indictment alleges Maduro and 5 others, including his wife, son, and other Venezuelan leaders, quote, have for decades partnered with some of the most violent and prolific drug traffickers and narco-terrorists in the world to distribute tons of cocaine to the United States to make themselves rich. Security for today's arraignment has been extra tight. Outside of the courthouse, there are dueling groups of protesters, some in favor of, some voicing their opposition to U.S. strikes on Venezuela and the capture of Nicolas Maduro.
Here we denounce a U.S. kidnapping.
There are questions about whether the U.S. has the legal authority to pursue charges against a sovereign head of state.
We don't recognize Maduro as the president of Venezuela. We say he is illegitimate, therefore he's not going to get sovereign immunity here.
Maduro faces up to life in prison if convicted. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
And you just saw some of those reactions outside of that New York City federal courthouse. Staying on that topic, in the United States, the reaction to Nicolas Maduro's capture has been mixed, with some Venezuelans celebrating and others accusing the U.S. of trying to steal the country's oil reserves. No foreign journalists are currently allowed into Venezuela right now, so CBS's Lila Luciano is reporting from the country's border with Colombia. Take a look.
In Caracas, Venezuela's capital, residents rushed to the supermarket and lined up at pharmacies and gas stations, stocking up. There's anxiety and desperation, this woman says, and we don't know what will happen. Venezuela's future hinges on who will run the country and how, following nearly 3 decades of authoritarian rule by Nicolás Maduro and before him by the late Hugo Chavez. In Venezuela, supporters of Maduro's regime made it known. Our president is Nicolás Maduro, this protester says. The country's interim president is Delcy Rodriguez, a longtime leading figure of the regime. She was oil minister and has been Maduro's vice president since 2018. Nailin Peña is among millions of Venezuelans who fled the regime. She's in Colombia hoping to return, but is skeptical of Rodriguez.
Nothing's gonna change, you think? Nada va a cambiar, ¿crees? No.
We were in Caracas during the last presidential election when the city erupted in protest against the regime. Despite the opposition showing evidence that they won with nearly 70% of the vote, Maduro continued his reign. Peña is among the many Venezuelans abroad wondering why President Trump is negotiating with regime figures instead of supporting the opposition leader, María Corina Machado.
Respecto a la figura de María Corina Machado.
Todo el mundo vio lo que vio y todo el mundo vio lo que vio y resultados no fallan.
Everybody saw what happened and the results are not wrong, meaning that it was the opposition who won the election. Over the weekend, President Trump said that María Corina Machado, the opposition leader, does not have enough respect or support in Venezuela to run the country. That caused a lot of frustration by her supporters and the people who saw her candidate, Edmundo González Urrutia, win last year's election, showing that they have the support. I've also heard from Venezuelans who tell me, look, we're giving the Trump administration the benefit of the doubt when it comes to negotiating with the figures in power in Venezuela for the sake of stability and calm, for the sake of a smoother transition into a potential democracy in the future. Others have said, look, sometimes in Venezuela there's the semblance of change, but nothing really does. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Cúcuta, Colombia.
Well, we want to take a live look now on your right to Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are returning today with a pressing to-do list. The Senate convenes today for the second session of the 119th Congress, and the House of Representatives is set to do so as well tomorrow. Lawmakers are expected to vote on extending newly expired Obamacare subsidies. The issue is a priority for Democrats, and some House Republicans have broken ranks to push the matter as well. Congress also must decide on how to respond to President Donald Trump's removal of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. And another government shutdown deadline is at the end of the month, something we will continue to follow right here on WTOC. Also today, it is the final day that Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene will be in office. She says she is stepping down to avoid a hurtful primary race for the District 14 seat. Greene announced back in November she would step down following a public falling out with President Donald Trump, where she criticized his stance on files related to Jeffrey Epstein, along with foreign policy and health care. Trump said he would have backed one of her challengers when she made that announcement.
And I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms.
Greene has also vocalized major pushback against the administration's Venezuela operation, saying she wants to see domestic policy be the priority that helps Americans, not taking over Venezuela. All right, in a state news story that we've been following for several weeks now, the 3 inmates who escaped from the DeKalb County Jail before Christmas are still in Florida, now facing federal kidnapping charges. All 3 men appeared today in court in Fort Lauderdale, and Mary Kate Hamilton with our sister station has more on what exactly comes next.
The 3 inmates escaped the DeKalb County Jail and then forced a rideshare driver to drive them to Florida, threatening to kill, sexually assault, and torture her. Yusuf Minor, Stevenson Charles, and Naod Johannes escaped sometime Sunday, December 21st. They were in the DeKalb County Jail on charges including murder, arson, sodomy, and aggravated assault. The U.S. Marshals Service said Charles arranged for someone to pick the men up from jail and take them to Minor's girlfriend's house. That girlfriend, Milena Watley, also faces charges for her connection to the escape. 3 counts of aiding or permitting another to escape lawful custody or confinement. From there, the men used a woman's rideshare account to order a ride to take them to Miami.
I suspect that the Lyft driver did not know that was the fare. When the 3 men got in the car, they probably informed her, we're going down 75 South. And that's what happened.
According to the affidavit, the escaped inmates wrapped a rope around the driver's neck, bound her hands, and dragged her into the back seat, where she was kept for between 6 to 10 hours. The victim was told not to struggle or she would be killed. Sometime after crossing into Florida, the victim tried to escape and was assaulted. They also had the driver transfer money from their savings accounts to the driver's debit cards and then use the cards at several different stores in Florida. The exact details of the escape, including the precise timeline and how they were able to do it, have yet to be released.
Turning now to sports news, the Atlanta Falcons have parted ways with head coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. A couple moves that shouldn't necessarily come as a surprise after the Falcons' 8th straight losing season. The Falcons announced last night that they're cleaning house. Morris is leaving Atlanta with an overall record of 16-18 after just 2 seasons. However, 4 of those wins have come in the last 4 weeks this season. Meanwhile, for the GM, he hasn't had a winning season since he took over the role back in 2021. The Falcons say there's no timeline for when a new coach and GM will come in this offseason, but they do say it will happen at the same time. All right, this is a pretty fun story. It's a new year, and that's bringing some new ways to express yourself on the road. Georgia just released a new slew of specialty license plates, including one dubbed America First. Joshua Skinner with our sister station shows them all off.
While I'm not one for wielding my personality on my vehicle, my bosses definitely want you to know who I work for. But if you are the kind of person who's an automotive extrovert, the state of Georgia has some new license plates designed that might pique your interest. 2026 in Georgia is a new year with new specialty license plates. And if you're getting a new plate, there are several to choose from, ranging from the outdoorsy to the patriotic.
I probably wouldn't go for that one.
Not your thing, okay.
Yeah.
That was Cobb County resident Noah's response to the new quadrennial license plate. In fact, I learned he's not much into plastering stuff on his vehicle at all. What about this? This looks like a salute to service one.
Not that one either, just not the vibe I'm going for on my car.
Come to find out, Noah's pretty self-conscious about the image he projects on his elderly Kia Rio. But for some people, there's clear intent, whether they root for Georgia, Clemson, or just without a plate at all. But perhaps the most talked about specialty plate for 2026 is the America First plate, championed by State Senator Steve Gooch and designed to show support for President Donald Trump.
See, yeah, that might help with the getting pulled over with certain right-leaning officers, but it's not really going to fit what I'm going for.
The America First tag costs $90, and the money goes to Georgia's general fund. Nobody at the Cobb County Tax Office was picking up physical plates. I mean, it is just January 2nd, but after a quick perusal, NOAA's no longer ruling out some of the state's new outdoorsy plates.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, state parks guy?
Yeah, I am. I'm into outdoor stuff.
In Cobb County, Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.
Call me boring. I've got one of the basic default plates, I guess. That new fish one, I'd be down for, though. That's a cool way to show off one of your favorite hobbies right there. All right, and finally here on WTOC Plus, Senior Citizens Inc. in Savannah is partnering with Starbucks to launch its 21st annual blanket drive tomorrow at 10 a.m. The nonprofit is asking the community to help older adults who struggle to heat their homes by donating new blankets to keep them warm throughout the winter. Donations can be dropped off at the Senior Citizens Inc. headquarters, which is on Bull Street, or designated locations throughout the landings. Donations of money are also welcome through the organization's website, and the blanket drive runs through February 13th. All right, and that is going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus on this Monday afternoon. We'd like to thank you all for spending part of your afternoon with us. We'll be back in just about 45 minutes for another round of stories during Welcome to Our Community with our very own Dawn Baker at 3 o'clock. And in the meantime, you can always head on over to our website to get the latest updates at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and here's Local News Live.